In a recent interview President Paul Kagame gave to Al Jazeera, he said a number of things that actually got people talking. And one of the things that he mentioned was about victimhood and how even though Western nations have exploited Africans, and he said he doesn't believe that colonization is over, we as Africans should not continue being a victim. Let me show you this clip. We'll come back and discuss
about how you see Western influence in Africa. But I also want to know about the Rwanda story. And you participated in the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, and America, the United States, other nations in Europe are trying to up their game. They're worried about China's influence. How do you see Western influence now, both in the continent and in your own country?
Well, this is the question I think we have partly answered. There is going to be Western influence, or there's going to be some other influence. But it's going to be minus African influence. Mm-hmm. So
it's a zero sum.
So this is what it looks like, sounds like, because other people have influence. Africa doesn't have influence. So that means Africa is just there to be influenced. And then, of course, the fights that go on over the continent, very obviously for what the continent has. I think my take on that is it should challenge us African leaders and Africans generally. We can't permanently stay in this position of a victim. In the end, by the way, when those powers that have influence, whenever they want, they turn Africa into perpetrators. So on one hand, we're either victims or we are pointed to as perpetrators of different crimes, things like that. Now, to weave in the story of Rwanda, we have to say we are good students of history ourselves. We learn from what has happened to us or what we see happening around us. And given what has happened to us, and at the time we needed anybody's help, it didn't matter who that was. And the West having such a power to really bring to a halt to what was happening in Rwanda, and they didn't. In fact, not only did they not do that, they even doubled up on doing nothing.
As you saw in that clip, he talked about how Africans should not permanently be victims and we should get out of that position. And also he talked about how even though someone exploiting you is in the wrong, exploitation is wrong, but the people that are being exploited should also be held accountable. I'm guessing he's referring to people just allowing it to happen or letting it slide, which can be quite controversial because of the situation at hand, because during colonization, a lot of African countries did fight that. But if we're talking about present day, it makes sense because after that happened to you as a nation, right? A person or a nation bamboozled you once or enslaved you once. Then the second time around, you have to be cautious while dealing with them. If they continue exploiting you, then that means that at some point, we also have to look at you and say, why are you allowing this to happen to you? Because they've shown you who they are time and time again. And it makes sense if that's the case. I believe that is where he's coming from, because in this day and age, there is so much information, there is so much to look at and so much history to look back on for us to realize what we've been through. We need to be able to do better in the present and in the future. But I also have to applaud a lot of African countries woke up to this fact and started saying no to neocolonization, no to being exploited. And we are seeing the effects of Africans waking up. So I do believe we're learning from history and we're moving differently, but there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. We are a work in progress. Anyways, fam, let us know down below what your thoughts are about what he said. I am Wongel Zelalem. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.